I'm going to share how you can group your paper die cuts and a couple of embossing techniques. Hey everyone, it's Joy here and welcome to my channel. I'm using products from Kelly Bangs and Spellbinders. I have this 3D embossing folder. This is the bold floral embossing folder. Excuse me, it's not a 3D embossing folder, just a regular one. This is the pieced heart die, and then we have the Just Sayin cardstock die cuts. So again, I'm going to show you how I grouped those together. I have made 2 cards for you today. So let's start with our first one using the pieced heart die. I want to die cut out. There's 2 pieces to the heart. You have this piece here that's going to die cut all of the pieces. Then the larger heart is the background solid heart. So I am die cutting all of those pieces from mixed media white cardstock from scrapbook.com. It's a nice thick cardstock, which I really love for die cuts especially. And I want to take 3 pieces out of this heart that I want to emboss, dry emboss with this embossing folder. I thought it would be really fun to have some ink blended pieces and some embossed pieces. So I'm just going to place these in the embossing folder. It doesn't matter where. I'm just trying to make sure I get a good embossed image. So I'm just trying to line up where there's some flowers and some leaves, and it does not have to be perfect. I'm running that through my die cut machine, and then I want to die cut that back piece, that large heart, the background heart, from black mixed media cardstock from scrapbook.com. Now let's do some techniques with this embossing. I'm taking my cracked pistachio Distress Oxide ink and gently rubbing it across my embossed pieces of this heart. Lightly, I'm not pressing down hard. I just want all of those raised areas to catch my ink, and then that just gives you a really nice fun background. You can see all of the embossed detail, and I think it turns out so pretty, and it's such an easy technique to do. Now for the rest of those pieces for the hearts, I'm going to do some ink blending. I kind of picked colors off of a sentiment that I'm going to use on this card from the cardstock die cut pieces. And so I am starting with Evergreen Bough, and I'm going darker on the edges. I am using some foam tools for my ink blending on this. These are from scrapbook.com, but you can use blender brushes, whatever you have to blend will work just fine. And I'm going to use Kitsch Flamingo for my next color, and then I will be using crushed olive and wild honey for my other colors. Now this heart is so super cute, and you could do a lot of different designs with it. You could use patterned paper, colored cardstocks. You could stamp on it, stamp some images on the hearts and color them. I mean, lots of different things. But this is kind of actually a background piece for the card, the first card that I'm going to be making. It's going to hold our groupings of the Just Sayin cardstock die cuts. So these are paper die cuts, which is really a nice way to make a quick card. So I was able to make these 2 cards fairly quick, and I think they turned out so super cute. It's also a way that you can get your color combinations from too. If you're not sure what colors you want to use, pick an image from some already made die cuts, and that could be your color combination. Now I do know I want these to have some foam adhesive behind them. I am using 1mm foam adhesive behind all of these pieces that go to the heart. And I did off camera kind of play around with how I was going to line these up on that black heart, because the die cut pieces are smaller than that background heart die. So you're going to have to center it and line it up. I laid it out a couple different ways, but what I'm doing here is I'm going to actually line up this green centerpiece and then the yellow centerpiece next to it. So I'm lining it up at with the top of the heart, kind of that point that comes down. So I'm going to bring in this other piece and line that up as well. And then it also lines up at the bottom. Then I can remove these other 2 because I just wasn't getting it right. I'm like, I need to line it up in the center. Then I can line up all my other pieces, and I feel like it worked pretty darn well. So again, these have a little bit of foam adhesive, so it has some dimension from that black background. And to me, the black background just kind of grounded the piece, because this is just going to be on a white background, cardstock background, no, card base background, geez Louise. And that measures 5.5 by 5.5, so it's going to be a square card. But you can see all of these just line up nicely, and now we have our background heart that we can add all of our groupings to. Now, I knew the sentiments that I wanted, so I'm actually going to place my sentiments exactly where I want those, and then I'm going to add everything else around it. So pick a focal point, whatever it might be. If it's a grouping of flowers, if it's another image, whatever it is, start with that, where you want that to go, and then work out from there. So I also knew that I wanted this big floral image. So I'm also going to now start with my biggest images and then work down to small images. So I knew that that place right there on the left-hand side was going to be my biggest floral image. And then I'm going to add this flower over here on the right. It's going to be quite a bit smaller, but I am going to have a small little grouping there and a bigger grouping on the left-hand side. So some things will have foam adhesive, because then we will do some layering, and some things will be adhered directly to the background. So we're going to be doing grouping and layering together. I layered that little flower on top of that other flower. This one is going to have some foam adhesive, so I'm layering this one on top of that background big bouquet of flowers. And as you noticed, I did tuck that under my sentiment. A little bit of foam adhesive for this small flower. And you know, you just lay things out. See where, when you do it, when you put a flower somewhere or a heart somewhere, if it is pleasing to your eye, that's where it should go. If you're just like, that just feels off, don't put it there. I mean, it really is that simple. I have this cute little arrow that I'm going to tuck under, just adding some of these extra little pieces that now we're going to do a lot of layering. I have these little hearts. I liked that they were open hearts, and I feel like it's nice. It kind of brings in some of that black from the background heart. And then these fun, they kind of remind me of like those little bokeh dots. And so I want to put a few of those around. I'm just going to kind of tuck them under. They don't need to show a whole lot, but just tuck them in a few places. And then we have this easy little grouping. That card is done. We'll visit it at the end of the video again. I am going to use that 3D embossing folder for our next card, and then show you another technique with this one. So this is an A2 size background. I'm going to keep it an A2 size. This is that mixed media paper. So I'm going to take those same colors. I was just kind of getting my idea of what I wanted to do, but I'm going to take those same colors that we ink blended that heart, and we're going to do some ink smushing, spritzing it with some water, and then laying our cardstock on top of it. So because this has the raised area, this is the embossed area. The embossed area is going to pick up the color. I'm not doing a ton of water. I don't want it to be super watery, but I want the raised areas to grab the color. So I'm just going to work in just different areas. I'm not drying it in between. I don't mind that some of the colors mix a little bit. It does not bother me at all. Then I'm just going to wipe down my work surface and then just move on to the next color using my distress sprayer, giving the ink a little bit of spritz, seeing where I have some open areas, and I'm pressing it down. I'm not smushing, I'm not sliding my cardstock through, I'm just pressing it down. So for the most part, only the raised areas picked up the ink because I wasn't sliding my cardstock around. But look at how fun that is turning out. I really liked the crushed olive, I have to say. I thought that was a really fun color on this background. So again, just pressing down, not sliding it, but then those raised areas pick up all that fun color. What a great way to color your background. The sad part is we're going to cover up most of this, but I still think it's really beautiful. Okay, so for this, I'm starting with this large sentiment, but I'm also going to have some other images that are just as important as that sentiment. So I have a typewriter, I have a stack of books, and I have another small sentiment. So the stack of books and the typewriter and the largest and smallest saying are the main pieces that I want for my grouping. And then I can layer other things behind and on top. I do like that little rainbow coming out of the typewriter. I think it's really cute. But I'm going to get the main pieces laid out, and then I can go from there and deciding, you know, other flowers or floral things that I want to add to it. So I liked this little text box that looks like writing in a book. I was thinking about my daughter with this because she loved books. She loved to write, and she had quite an imagination, and the stories that she could write were pretty amazing. So I was thinking about her when I was putting this card together. So this is just me showing kind of how my layout process is. I'm going to speed this up now that we're going to adhere it. I'm using some 3mm foam adhesive behind the Just Sayin sentiment. I think also behind the typewriter. So we're grouping these together, and then we can do some layering as well. So as you can see, it's not really hard to do. Super, super easy. Just pick the images that you want. You know, when you're laying things out, if it feels right as you're laying it out, go for it. I'm going to layer this little pink flower there, layering the books on top, overlapping that typewriter. I'm going to pop up with 1mm foam adhesive this cute little rainbow. I just think that turned out so fun. And then this cute little card that just had hearts on it, I'm going to place that down after I do my sentiment that says "You the best." And then once I have to trim my adhesive a little bit smaller because I can't overlap it. So there we have that. Then now I'm going to bring in some other floral arrangements and kind of tuck that under the top right and then the bottom left. And then there's a couple other little things that I'm going to adhere down that have a pretty floral on the background, but I'm going to use some foam adhesive behind it and just layer these little pieces here. I don't even know what to call these. And then I know what they're called. I can't recall what they're called when they're all like written out or typed out. I can't think of what they're called right now. So if one of you guys know, please put it in the comments. But I'm going to place those just as a little something extra. And then this will be adhered to a white A2 size card base. So you can see really how easy this is to make a little grouping and get all of your layering. And I think this card turned out really cute. Let's finish with this last little pink heart card. Okay, let's take a look at this up close. You still can see everything. It's a fun grouping. You have a lot going on, but it's visually pleasing, and I think it turned out really nice. And then we have our heart die cut background with our layered groupings there with our cute "Hello, you the best" sentiment. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. I hope that you enjoyed this project, and I hope you guys feel inspired, and I hope you have a great day.